Hello, I'm Trudy, One Grounded Angel. This is my weekly angel card reading that I do every week. This week we're starting on May the 8th, running through to the 14th, 2017. Thank you for joining me. So what I'm going to do is draw a card for each day of the week. I use a different deck for each day. That's just something I prefer because I like to see the different patterns emerging across different decks. But other readers I know like to use the same one. I like to keep things interesting and just create a rod for my own back, really, because why do things the easy way when you can make it harder for yourself, right? That's just how I roll. Anyway, so what happens is the card that comes up will give you information you need for your day. So what you do with that information is entirely up to you. These are very, very general. You need to tailor it to what's going on in your life, and you might find on the day itself what's coming up for you is different to what you expected at the outset of the week when you were watching this video. So I put these up on Sunday night in where I live in Australia, Eastern Standard Time. But some of you, I know a lot of you are in the States and in Canada, and so you'll be watching it, of course, a Saturday night or a Sunday morning, depending on whereabouts you are. So, and I know also people continue watching these through the week as well. So don't forget that the easiest way to distill the information is to see it as it comes up on the day itself, which you can see on my Instagram page at One Grounded Angel and on my Facebook page as well, One Grounded Angel. So wherever you are in the world, thank you for watching. And I really hope that this gives you some helps you find some meaning and helps guide some of your life choices for the day and week. So, here we go. So for Monday, we've got focus on service. Sometimes we forget that what we're actually here to do is not to buy lots of things and earn lots of money, it's to help people. Now, sometimes people get really confused with helping people because they think it means that they have to give up everything they have to help people. That's not the case, but regardless of your means, your resources, your time, you can always be doing more than what you are. It doesn't mean you have to quit your life and go and volunteer permanently in an orphanage overseas, but there are certainly lots more things you can be doing. And the other thing that can happen when people talk about helping people is they can think they need to bend over backwards to give to other people, and they end up being taken advantage of. So we need to be aware of boundaries within this, okay? So this card often comes up for people who are really struggling to figure out what they should be doing with their lives. I don't like the word should, but I've used it here because it's the best word I can think of, and to explain the call of your soul. What are you here to do? What should you be doing? You don't have to do anything, but if you want to be happy, answering that call is the best way to go about that. So. And usually the way to find that is, how do you feel useful? Is it in helping people? Is it in doing something that other people can use? What is it? So to find your life purpose, to find what brings you meaning, look for how you can be useful to other people without putting undue burden on yourself. It's really important to remember. Often when we talk about finding our life purpose, people talk about concentrating on what they're passionate about as well. That can also be useful, but it's important to remember that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to spend your job or your career doing something you're passionate about. Not everybody can have a career in music, for example. And it may be that your job is simply a means to make money, but your life purpose, your passion projects, that is what happens outside those hours, and that's totally okay as well. So Tuesday, the 9th of May, I've got here, listen to your intuitive feelings. There is never a day when this is not helpful advice. Listen to your intuition. It always, always knows. And boy, when you disregard the advice from your intuition, you feel a bit stupid afterwards, don't you? Because it's always right. Listen to your intuitive feelings. The reason this is coming up, they're saying for some of you it's about it's for some of you who are facing choices in your life, difficult ones about jobs and about locations that you're living in, that sort of thing. But it's also just a general reminder that, we're in a time right now where the energy is really coming through in terms of good ideas. We had twice last week, two different cards telling us that the universe was supplying us with inspired ideas that were messages for us to act on and this is continuing that theme. So make sure you are doing what you can to tune in. That might be, the things that help you tune in best to your intuition. You can hear it all the time. You don't need to be doing anything specific to hear it, but sometimes we're so busy and our brains are just ticking over all the things we've got to do in our day that it's difficult for us to listen. So what I suggest to people is that they make time to do things like go for a walk in nature, be around the ocean, meditate. That's the most accessible way to people. Listen to soft music. Things that quiet the noise of your brain, not completely, because you can never stop your brain completely. If you do, you've got a medical situation happening. But also it's in the brain's nature to keep giving you thoughts. And what you have to do, and this is what meditation teachers will talk about, is come back to that stillness and concentrating on the now. It's about being present, and that can also be something that happens when you are doing things like mindfulness activities, like playing with your kids, singing and dancing, definitely, because those are when you give yourself away to the music and you do something intuitive rather than something that's brain focused. Okay, probably talked about that enough. Gone off track as per usual. Wednesday, this is a big one. I bring you a message from your deceased loved one. Now, I can't tell you who this loved one is, only you can know. And it doesn't mean it's someone that you've lost recently. It could be someone you lost a long, long time ago that's been on your mind lately, or it's just you feel like you've been sensing them around. If that's the case, this confirms you absolutely are right about that. But even if you haven't been sensing that person around, just remember that, the souls never die. So people never stop existing. They are okay on the other side. They don't have a human body anymore, but they're still around. You haven't lost them, and you can still talk to them. Relationships don't stop with death. So the main thing to know is that they are totally at peace, because it's not possible to carry resentment and anger and manipulation or any of the other stuff that might have been involved in your relationship. They don't happen anymore. That person is completely at peace, no matter what happened. So if any of you are holding any regrets towards the way you might have acted towards someone who's passed on, try to let that go, because it honestly doesn't matter. Whoa, I just started shuffling Thursday the 11th, and this card jumped out straight away. Communicate with your angels. We can see a very clear pattern here already about messages from our intuition and from the other side, obviously, as well. So this is just asking you to check in with your angels. Your angels cannot help you unless you ask them to, because that would be violating your free will. You must ask them for help. Do not struggle. I know for myself, it's the times I need the most, I tend to forget they're there, and I feel like I'm completely alone dealing with this huge thing, completely forgetting I've got this angel squad who are there to help me. So try to do a better job of that. I realize it's something that we often forget, but just try to remember to tune in and ask them for help, and to listen to the response as well. Sometimes you feel like you're not being heard, but you are. So make sure you're listening to the response. And again, that's something that you can get through mindfulness, through going outside in nature, automatic writing. That's what I was going to say. That's when you start writing without thinking about what you're going to write. You just let the pen flow. That's often a way to get some answers as well from the divine. Prayer, of course, as well. And even before you go to sleep, you can ask them to give you messages in your dreams. Friday, infinite supply. I love this. It's a great message about abundance, letting you know you always have enough of what you need. Do not worry that you are going to run out of money, that you are going to run out of time. I was going to say that you'll run out of energy, but you know what? You may well run out of energy. That happens to us all. Great thing about that, it gets restored. Your time does not. It is the most precious gift you can ever give someone, because it can never be replenished. However, you will always have enough of it to do the things you need to do. But not if you're giving away your time to energy vampires, to people who don't respect your boundaries, perhaps because you're not setting them. That's often the case, because you don't say no to people, because you're letting them take the piss. So do bear that in mind. But this is just really making sure you're not afraid of lack. Because when we're afraid of going back to the money example, if we're afraid of running out of money, what we do is we don't attract more money, we attract more lack. Where we focus is where we attract things. So you don't want to put your focus on the fear, you want to put it on the solution, which is being supplied by the universe. You will always have enough. Now, just going back to that time example, because I feel I may have confused things by saying you'll always have enough, and then I went, oh, no, you won't actually. So we do have to own where we are not using the resources that we have well. So if you are if you are a shopaholic, no judgment, Taurus people, but I know your star sign is particularly chronic for this. Do look at where you are overusing and overextending as well. So you do have to own your role in that as well. So you can't throw away all your money on clothes and then just expect the universe to keep topping you up. It will give you enough for what you need. But if you are squandering what you have out of fear, out of a desire to impress people, whatever it is that's happening, you're going to end up in trouble. So ask the angels to help you if that's an issue for you. Of course, humans do all sorts of things in an effort to avoid the work they need to do on themselves sometimes, or perhaps it's to make themselves feel better, to make themselves feel worthy, to make themselves feel like they're coping, whatever it is. So that's a very big topic, a topic for another day, I think. I think it's Brad Pitt certainly touched on that this week, hasn't he, with his drinking. Oh my goodness, these cards are going everywhere. The way he was using alcohol. Anyway, no judgment. So Saturday, 3 of Raphael, it's about celebrations. Awesome, so on board with that. And it's very much about connections. So if you haven't got anything planned with your loved ones today, it's a Saturday, try and lock something in, even if it's just a group Skype chat to catch up with people, your family abroad. Oh, that's interesting that I just said the word abroad, because they are emphasising, they're telling me to reiterate that because it's important. This boat in the background is important, not because it involves literally a boat, but to emphasise distance and journeys. So I would say that connecting with people overseas would be very cathartic and helpful for you today. And some of you are going to have some great celebrations, not necessarily in terms of, big events, perhaps, but it might be small wins and things around family and around kind of, well, it's something that you need to make happen mostly yourself. You need to, if you've been working too hard, this is really an opportunity for you to take some time to celebrate what's going right in your life. Instead of focusing on what you haven't done yet, which is kind of a human tendency, really put the focus back on how far you've come, because you have come a long way, baby. And it's a good time to celebrate, and that's a good time, of course, to get your squad on board to help you with that, because collective energy, being around positive people, is what lifts your own energy field and helps you vibrate higher, which is why, of course, it's not good to hang around with, as previously mentioned, energy vampires and people who are disrespecting you and not treating you well, and people who are just generally negative as well. So it's a day of relationships, whatever that means to you. Sunday, what's going on Sunday? The 14th, that didn't go well. Sometimes the shuffling is human error. Sometimes it's the angels telling me it's the wrong deck. That very much felt like the right deck, and this very much feels like the right card, because as you may have seen, it just jumped out. You know what to do. Wow, so this is very much backing up those earlier messages about your intuition. So sometimes when we are struggling with a decision, we say, I just don't know what to do. And the answer always is, you actually do. You know what you need to do, but you don't want to do it, or you're scared of getting it wrong, or you're letting your brain confuse things by bringing in other issues. Your heart always knows what's right. So that is what you need to do, is trust your intuition on what is right for you. And I've already talked about various ways you can get in touch or better connected to your intuition. But this is really just reminding you to trust it. Don't go, well, I know this is right, but if I go with this option, I could get more money. But if I do this, then that means this person will be upset about it. You have to kind of turn off that noise or mute it and just go with, I know this is right. I know there's risk. I know it's scary. I know it's not going to suit everybody, but it is right. And you just have to go with that. So looking back at the week, let's see if I can actually manage to get these in the right order for once. Not too bad. So we've got a message about being of service to other people, which is particularly important or helpful if you're really stressed out at the moment. Sometimes what can bring you back to a sense of calm is, well, gratitude is obviously one major way, but also going back to being of service to people. Listen to your intuition, a message from the other side. Again, communicate with your angels, listen to your intuition, a message about having enough of what we need, celebrations, woohoo, and, you know, again, your intuition. So it's not hard to see the clear kind of overriding theme here. That's it for me. As I said, I'll post each card on my Instagram and on my Facebook each day. If you have any questions, you can contact me via direct message on Instagram or my Facebook page. You can message me there. Please don't ask